Hi everyone. Over the last couple of weeks, or maybe even as far back as a couple of months, I've been mentioning the Atlantic Council, and especially in light of all these accounts and pages and videos and things that are being taken down by the likes of Facebook and YouTube, and to a certain degree Twitter as well. Now, the reason why I bring up the Atlantic Council is because they're the people who Facebook have now teamed up with to be able to basically, police fake news. So let's find out about them, because once you start investigating into them, it does not look good. And there was a report this week in Zero Hedge, and I noticed it when it was in Mint Press News. So I just want to read this to you, just to try and get across just how important it is that everybody understands this, and everybody understands that this is one of the main things that is predominant in my mind when I take the stance of, listen, you shouldn't be banning people like Alex Jones. This is why. It's because it's censorship. That's why, and I'll get to that later in the video. But let's just quickly go through this article. I'm not going to read all of it. I'll probably skip some of it, but it'll give you a rough idea as to who the Atlantic Council are. So it starts off, this is not at all comforting. You could say that again. During a week that witnessed Alex Jones's social media accounts taken down by Facebook, Apple, Spotify and Google, and what appears to be a growing crackdown against alternative media figures, including several prominent libertarians, notably the Ron Paul Institute director and the Scott Horton Show, who found their Twitter accounts suspended, we learn that the Atlantic Council is directly advising Facebook on identifying and removing, quote, foreign interference on the popular platform. While the initiative was initially revealed last May through an official Facebook media release, more details of the controversial think tank's role have been revealed. Supposedly, the whole partnership is aimed at bringing more objectivity and neutrality to the process of rooting out fake accounts that pose the threat of being operated by nefarious foreign states. And yet, as a new Reuters report confirms, Facebook is now itself a top donor to the Atlantic Council, alongside Western governments, Gulf autocratic regimes, NATO, various branches of the US military, and a number of major defense contractors and corporations. Now, you tell me, do you think that whole partnership, just looking at that one paragraph there, is going to make Facebook more objective and neutral? What's more is that the team of 4 total individuals running the Atlantic Council's Digital Forensic Research Lab, DFR Lab, is headed by a former National Security Council advisor for the last 4 years of the Obama administration, Graham Brookie, who is also its founder. This is what I've been saying all along. This is the government abdicating its responsibility to make sure that free speech is enjoyed by everybody, regardless of what you say. They are abdicating that responsibility to the social media platforms. This is it's not just a disaster waiting to happen, it's a disaster happening right now in front of our eyes. And yet people say, oh, but corporations are private companies. Listen, if you've got the argument that corporations are private companies, and that's your whole argument as to why Alex Jones should be suspended and should be gone, then I don't know what to say to you. I really won't. Get out of the news, I will say. Just get out, because you're useless at your job. Apparently, the group's work has already been instrumental in Facebook taking action. Over 24 suspicious pages flagged potential foreign actors such as Russia, according to Reuters. Quote, Facebook is using the group to enhance its investigation of foreign interference. Last week, the company said it took down 32 suspicious pages and accounts that purported to be run by leftist and minority activists. While some US officials say they were likely the work of Russian agents, Facebook said it did not know for sure. This is indeed a shocking key phrase they included in the report. Facebook said it did not know for sure, and yet the accounts were removed anyway. If you've ever had an account just removed from Facebook, you cannot get it back. You cannot get it back. If they have deleted your account, they have deleted your account. You cannot get it back. I know this for sure. They can give you bans and all that sort of thing, and you can get it back. But if they delete your account, that's it. It's gone. So they say anyway. The Facebook Atlantic Council Alliance reportedly springs from the social media giants finding itself desperate for outside, quote, neutral help after a swell of public criticism, mostly issuing from congressional leaders and prominent media pundits for supposedly allowing Russian propaganda accounts to operate ahead of the 2016 elections. Yeah, I mean, they put memes out of Bernie, didn't they? In the colours of the LGBTQ community. It's just Russian propaganda as far as I'm concerned. And in perhaps the most chilling line of the entire report, Reuters says, but the lab and Atlantic Council bring geopolitical expertise and allow Facebook to distance itself from sensitive pronouncements. No, it's allowing Facebook to distance itself from the possibility of it being regulated, which is what they don't want. So they've come to an agreement with the government to do some sort of thing in cahoots where they've got outside people like the Atlantic Council. It's the government abdicating its responsibility to make sure that free speech is available to all, giving it to the corporations and then using intermediaries to silence free speech. That's what's going on here. This is why I say, if you're saying, oh, but corporations are... Listen, quit your job right now. Quit it. You're useless. Facebook's chief security officer, Alex Stamos, recently told reporters, quote, companies like ours don't have the necessary information to evaluate the relationship between political motivations that we infer about an adversary and the political goals of a nation state. He explained further that Facebook would collect suspicious digital evidence and submit it to researchers and authorities. In other words, I suspect the DFR Lab. Since at least May, when the relationship was first announced, the DFR Lab has been key to this process of verifying what constitutes foreign interference or nefarious state propaganda. Foreign interference. But here's the kicker. Reuters writes of the DFR Lab's funding in the following. Facebook donated an undisclosed amount to the lab in May that was enough, said Graham Buckey, who runs the lab, to vault the company to the top of the Atlantic Council's donor list alongside the British government. The British government. As we all know, whenever the British government are funding something, it's always for really good, wholesome purposes, isn't it? Facebook employees said privately over the past several months that Chief Executive Mark Zuckerberg wants to outsource many of the sensitive political decisions, leaving fact-checking to media groups and geopolitics to think tanks. Facebook has defended the process as part of ensuring that it remains politically neutral, yet clearly the Atlantic Council itself is hardly neutral, as a quick perusal of its top donors indicates. There's a list of the donors. It's just an amalgamation of absolute horrific companies that you do not want funding anything that essentially is now policing free speech on Facebook. Among the DFR Labs partners include UK-based Bellingcat. Oh, I've got a history of with them, which has in the past claimed proof that Assad gassed civilians based on analysing YouTube videos and Google Earth. And top donors include various branches of the US military, Gulf states like the UAE, and notably NATO. The Atlantic Council has frequently called for things like, get this, increased military engagement in Syria, military confronting the Russian threat in Eastern Europe, and now is advocating for Ukraine and Georgia to be allowed entry into NATO. This is the same people who are now advising Facebook. Do you see why I'm very, very concerned about this, and others are? While calling for general territorial expansion of the Western military alliance. Further, it has advocated on behalf of one of its previous funders, Turkish dictator Erdogan, and gave a Distinguished International Leadership Award to George W. Bush, to name but a few actions of the think tank that has been given authorizations to flag citizens' Facebook pages for possible foreign influence and propaganda. Quite disturbingly, this is Mike Zuckerberg's outside geopolitical expertise he's been seeking. This is why, when Alex Jones was deplatformed, I was totally against it. When he was deplatformed, somebody said, and I was arguing the case, somebody said to me, well, pages have been taken down everywhere else. Why don't you talk about that? It's like, have you not seen my channel? I've been talking about this for 16 months. They've got a history, DFR Labs. And I've talked about it on my channel before. Anybody who's never seen this video knows it. DFR Labs have got a history of getting things wrong. This was from The Guardian. Russia spread fake news via Twitter bots after Salisbury poisoning analysis. I did a video on this. In that article it said one bot, Ian56789, was sending 100 posts a day during a 12-day period from April and reached 23 million users before the account was suspended. It focused on claims that the chemical weapons attack on Duma had been falsified using the hashtag false flag. Another, Partisan Girl, reached 61 million users with 2,300 posts over the same 12-day period. So it says there, one bot and another. Here's Ian. Does he look like a bot to you? He went on Sky News and whipped him a new one. Got in some really good couple of zingers. It was really quite good to watch. And here's Partisan Girl, who's the other bot that The Guardian outed. She's got a blue check mark. She's had to verify that she's a person and her identity. Why do I bring this up? This was in The Guardian. Well, this was in The Guardian based on the data that the DFR Labs had given. That's how good DFR Labs are at spotting bots. It's not spotting bots. It's quietening discourse is what it is. And I knew that right from the very beginning because I followed Partisan Girl for quite a while. The reason I follow her is she tweets out amazing information and it's nearly always accurate. Very good it is. And then we come to Abby Martin. Now, a lot of my people who watch my videos know what a great person Abby Martin is. All of them, I would say, are big fans of hers. And just look at that. Atlantic Council's board members include Kissinger. Yes, that Kissinger. Former CIA chief Michael Hayden. Former CIA head Mike Morrell, who said the US should kill Russians and Iranians in Syria, remember. Bush DHS chief Michael Chertoff, inventor of colour-coded terror chart, and funded by Lockheed Martin, Chevron, UAE, NATO, governments, blah, 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 blah. It goes on and on and on. This is why we have to stand up when anybody gets deplatformed or silenced. Anybody, for any reason. We have to stand up for it. Whether you agree with these people politically or not, whether you think, oh, they broke rules, they should be. No, because how do you know he broke rules? Well, the videos have gone. And if he has broken rules, fine. Sue him. Sue him. Somebody pointed out in the comments on one of my channels, one of my videos the other day, and said, they remember when the KKK was almost sued out of existence. This is really bad. Really bad. And it needs something to change. Because at the moment we are powerless to do anything, as far as I can tell. Absolutely powerless. Until somebody steps up and gives us another platform that we can go on. Oh, wait, what happens there? Oh, yeah, they get bought out for $1 gazillion by Google or Facebook. We need the government to step in here. We need the government to step in. We need them to step in. We need them to regulate these social media platforms. They are public forums. They use that in a defense. I am sure Twitter used the public forum defense. So to stop Donald Trump from blocking people, I think it was. They use that defense. If it's a public forum, the government should regulate them. and should say, no, you have to follow. In America, I suppose, the First Amendment. In the UK, whatever free speech laws are in the UK. I know they're different. Or would you rather people like Kissinger be the heads of the companies that are deciding whether you're a bot or not? This is really worrying. Really worrying. And it's why people like me are so adamant that you shouldn't be kicking people like Alex Jones off the platform, no matter what he said. If he said something bad, fine. Take the video down, have a process. Sue him. But there's a concerted effort at the moment for censorship. This is what it is. It's not about free speech per se. It's censorship. They are censoring us because the narrative of the corporations and the media and the governments and the media, their narrative is falling apart. And they are getting more and more desperate trying to cover everything up and to cover up what their real agenda is. Don't fall for it. And if anybody's saying, oh, but a government, you know, they're private corporations, they can do what they want. Honestly, I'm just going to block them from now on because they haven't got a clue what they're talking about. If you enjoyed this video, please click the bell down there and subscribe so you get a notification of next time I drop a video. Also, I can't do this without your help, so if you can afford it and you enjoy my videos, please support the channel by subscribing to my Patreon. Link is down there. You can do it for as little as $1 a month, and it really does help. If you can't afford it, that's fine. Please share my work and talk to other people about the issues that I bring up. Thanks very much for your support. Until next time, peace and take care.